So when we walked back into the church that Sunday, people were like, could not believe the difference in how we looked. Now, we didn't realize how different we looked other than our clothes fit good again and we felt good and we had energy to burn. But people just saw the difference immediately and immediately came up. Okay, what are y'all doing? What are you doing? What's your secret?
Welcome, friends. This is a real treat. I often quote my friend Reverend Jimmy, who says, meet, pray, love. And now we have the man himself, Reverend Jimmy Pruitt, who is here with me today. And he has an extraordinary story of life renewed on the carnivore diet and of his journey to this place of great success, great health, great spirit. He's an extraordinary storyteller and insightful teacher and mentor and exemplar of the carnivore way of eating. Welcome, Reverend Jimmy. So good to have you.
Hey, it is a privilege to be here today. And I have to ask, could you give me that introduction next Sunday at our church? Would you be able to
Absolutely.
show that? That would be amazing. It's
I'd be
great to
honored.
be with you. So good to
Thank
be with you. I've been looking forward to this.
Me
Our
too.
time.
Tell me your carnivore story. And I know it's not
Uh,
just you, it's your wife also, but tell me
of
the story.
course, of course. Annette and I, being pastors, we had never taken a sabbatical, like an extended leave. And leading up to this past summer, we had a 2 month sabbatical coming, which we were very excited about. Beautiful gift from our church. So 2 months to be able to offload everything and breathe and just be and instead of do. And we had that coming up. We had engaged the ketogenic diet a number of years ago, around 5 years ago, and actually had great results from that. We were very pleased with what happened. Half of our church ended up on keto because they saw what was happening to us and they were like, we want in too. And so as that happens, as in your own church with your congregation, and people are going to come and ask you questions. And so that happened. Then COVID hit and all bets went out. It was like we couldn't get to the store. We had our youngest daughter living with us. So we had all of her food. We'd eaten through everything we could, keto. And then it was like, we either eat her food, it's just temporary. It's just temporary. So we fell off the wagon. We're miserable, frankly, did not feel good about it. And we weren't able to get to a gym. So we were just really, kind of like a lot of people, life just went into pause and into a bit of a free fall. COVID passed, the gate came back up, and life started again. And during just leading up to our sabbatical, we had decided we really want to engage and feel good again. And we continued to work out, go to the gym. We've got a rhythm with all of it we've done together. We even met in the gym. We're gym rats by nature, and so we decided to re-engage keto, but do pure keto, clean keto, not no keto snacks. Stay out of the keto aisle at the store. No processed food. We were going to go really strong. And so we started that right as we started our sabbatical. Immediately started feeling good again and getting off sugar and all that. Well, during that time, my son, who was also doing a low carb diet, started talking to us about carnivore. He had seen Jordan Peterson, his interview with Joe Rogan, and that had really impacted him. So we watched it together. He came and spent some time with us. He was doing his own sabbatical. He's a pastor as well. So he just come hang out with us for a week. And so we watched YouTube videos and we started looking into this. And to me, all of it just made common sense. It just made sense. And so he left, went back to Houston where he's from. And the next day, Annette and I said, you ready? We're ready. Let's go. And we just ripped the Band-Aid off and jumped right in. And we found out for us, it was easy. Now, mind you, I'm not a calorie counter. I don't do metrics and macros, and I don't have time for that. It's got to be something that works for me and that's easy, or I won't do it. And so we jumped right into it, and we just took off to the races. I started at 200 pounds, which I'm 6'1". I'm a medium build and I work out. So that's doable.
Not bad.
But
Right.
I felt heavy. I felt the brain fog. I felt the fatigue. the church that we're pastoring had really started to grow, and I was feeling fatigue from that, and just the stress that comes with those things. And so I could tell I wasn't my best. And so once we started into carnivore, about 3 weeks in, once we got past that transitional gut stage, fatigue stage. One day, Annette and I had gone to the gym together. We walked out of the gym and we looked at each other and said, we could go do that again. We had so much energy. The switch flipped for both of us at the same time. And
How
we,
long after carnivore is this? A week? 3 weeks?
3 weeks, 3 weeks in was when the switch flipped for us. And in between that, it felt a little bit like it reminded me of keto flu. And so we jumped on this elements. We started doing electrolytes, which we had learned from keto experience. That's a great way to get you through that keto flu. So we knew what to do mostly. We found this very easy to do and actually fun for us. So fast forward through the entire sabbatical, 2 months, we come back to church. Now, when we did our sabbatical, we even changed our cell phone numbers, which is nobody does that, right? And because we moved from Nashville and we've been here 8 years, and we're like, it's time to change our number, and this is the best time to do it. So we literally, no one saw us. Hardly a couple of people. We did some stuff with a few people, but very little. No one really saw us. So when we walked back into the church that Sunday, people were like, could not believe the difference in how we looked. Now, we didn't realize how different we looked other than our clothes fit good again and we felt good and we had energy to burn. But people just saw the difference immediately and immediately came up. Okay, what are y'all doing? What are you doing? What's your secret? Are you doing keto again? And it was really interesting. And we said, no, we decided to take it up a notch. We decided to go all in. We're doing carnivore. And they're like, what? Most people had never heard of it.
Right.
And when we explained the BBBE thing, bacon, butter, beef, and eggs, they were like, mixed reviews, obviously. So people now have watched us over 9 months of doing this. And many in our church, because we have a podcast too, and we'll mention this on our podcast as well, a little Carnival Corner, many in our church have embraced it. And I get notes all the time and little comments on social media or DMs saying, I'm 2 weeks in and I feel better already, or I'm 3 weeks in, I've lost 10 pounds. I started at 212. I'm now, I weighed this morning, 192. I've lost 20 pounds. Mind you, I lost more than that because I'm gaining lean muscle mass.
Right. Right.
And we're really working out and really hitting it hard. And so I'm certain I've lost more. It's just muscle density there. And Annette has lost at least that, and maybe even a little bit more. She carried well too. So we didn't look out of shape. We just felt out of shape. And it wasn't as much in terms for me for weight loss as it was just how I feel when I eat well. Clear headed. I feel good about myself. I sleep better. I had over the last 5 years picked up some hypertension, which runs in my family. And because it runs in my family, my mother died very young, my grandfather young as well. So it's that it happened to them. And so my doctors were like, no, we got to get you on medication. Then we need to get you on a statin. So I was on a statin and I was on blood pressure because my blood pressure just began to rise over the last 5 years. I went off, I watched a video by Dr. Ken Berry about blood pressure and how to wean off and get off that medication. I didn't want to just jump off it. And frankly,
Right.
I didn't want to tell my doctor. I didn't think he'd be excited about it. He's a friend of mine. So I decided to do it. So I weaned off of that. And then I was able to stop the statin immediately. We also ended up going off of all of our other supplements as well, because we were doing the alphabet, basically typical stuff. 62 years of age, our doctors are saying, well, you need this to supplement, you need this to supplement. And as I learned about the carnivore way of eating, I would call it a diet. For me, it's a way of eating. I realized I don't need these supplements. I'm getting everything I need in what I'm eating. And so we're 282 days in, so a little over 9 months now.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, and this is something I've dealt with too. You're a public figure. You've got a congregation. You interact with people all the time. It's sometimes you see some carnivores who maybe live out in the middle of nowhere and they have an Amazon business or a farm that they can do, or people who are retired. You are in the midst of a very busy life and a very social life surrounded by people, as am I. How do you navigate? How do you talk about carnivore with people? How do you both show respect for other ways of eating, but also
Yes.
be clear in your
Yeah.
convictions? How does that work?
Yeah. It's a great question. Hence the shirt, compassionate carnivore here.
Yes.
Appreciate Carrie, man. Appreciate the shirt. And it's true. We really are. Our heart is not to, we would love people to try. We would love people because of the benefit that we've seen from it. We could be carnivore evangelists if we just take it up a notch or two. But really our heart for people is their overall well-being, mind, body, spirit. It's not just the body, but it's important and probably the most neglected of the three. And it usually comes up in conversation when we go out to eat with somebody. And we do that all the time. We eat with people in our congregation. We love going out, and we live in a resort community where there's great restaurants, always a place to go, always something to do. And every time we go out, at least at first, now everybody knows, but when we were going out at first, we would, if they were to suggest a place that had nothing carnivore, we'd say, "Would you mind if we went over here? Because we'd really like to get something." And people go, "Oh yeah, sure, no problem." So we would go, and then of course when the giveaway is when you order food at a restaurant and you're having to explain to the waiter or the waitress your strange ordering habits. I would like a cheeseburger with only meat, cheddar only if you have it, no French fries, and could you add a egg sunny side up on top of that and bacon? No. So people go, okay, what just happened? And I was like, and Annette will have that as well. We'll both have the same thing. And so it didn't take long where people, and then of course the dessert round comes around and they're all ordering desserts. And you're like, oh, we're good. Thank you so much.
Yep.
All
Yep.
right, what are you guys doing? And what the proof's in the pudding, right? People are looking at us. They're seeing our energy. They're seeing how we came back from sabbatical. They think it's the sabbatical that did this. And that did help. I will tell you this. I didn't know how tired I was until I wasn't, but that did help. But it's not just that. It was that we had changed our entire life rhythm.
Mm,
Now we're careful how we share it with people because I think in the beginning, you may have done this too. We overshared a little bit because we
yeah.
were excited. When you have good news, you want to tell people about it. And
Yeah.
so I think at first he probably overwhelmed a few people, blowing their hair back. I'm like, sorry they asked. But now we're just very relaxed about it. And like I said, most people in our congregation know because we've said something. Every once in a while on social media, I'll intentionally post a picture of a 2-pound steak with butter, Kerrygold butter on it, dripping off on a wood plate. You go, hey, for my carnivore friends. Of course, I always get comments, and it's interesting, just the feedback I get. But again, it's my way of saying, if anyone's interested, and I got a call. I was on a call yesterday from a pastor in New Mexico who's an old friend of mine. Went to college together. And all these years later, he reached out to me because he is starting a low carb diet. He got off sugar. And when he saw my post about carnivore, he said, let's have a conversation. So I shared a little bit and gave him some tips and pointers. So again, the proof's in the pudding. When you look good and you feel good, you also walk with a different level of confidence.
Yes.
And it's not even something you intentionally exude. It's just when you feel good, you act good. It just all works together.
Yes. How has carnivore affected your ministry, both on a professional level, obviously achieving success, and talk about that a little bit, what you think
Mhm.
sparked that, what motivated that, and then on a
Sure.
personal level,
Yeah.
because it changes our way of looking at the world. I don't know if in a fundamental way, maybe yes, maybe no, but certainly in some way. So talk about how it has changed your sense of being a minister and perhaps your relationship with God and relationship with the
Sure. Of
community.
course. Of course. I think the confidence factor is a real thing. When you feel good, you exude that. You walk into a room different, not intention. I'm not talking swagger or anything. I'm just
Right.
saying there's just something that's different about you. Maybe it's because, and this is a spiritual connection, I think, when you can master your appetite, which is one of the most primal things we have, is our appetite. And when you can become the master of that as opposed to it mastering you, that bodes well on every level of your life, whether it's anything. whatever you're putting your hands to, whatever you're doing, you're confident in it, because if you can master the most primal thing in your life, you can master just about anything. And I don't mean master as in perfection. I just mean gain a leg up on it. And that does something for your confidence where you feel like you can tag. I'm more, for example, the year rolled around. I like to do a word for a year, just my one word thing. And I've done that for years. And my word this year was engage. And that really speaks to me about not shying away from things, not procrastinating, just engage what hurts. We've done easy, let's do difficult, engage. And so I really believe that carnivore played a role. If you look at a wheel that's got spokes on it, carnivore is one of those spokes of several things, but it was very important. And it has given me a different approach to people, a different I used to have a little bit of it's terrible for a pastor, a little bit of social anxiety at one point in my life. It was like, I think I've been in ministry 40 years this year. I've got a few bumps and bruises and little PTSD here and there, some bad association type things. It just happens through the years. You just get scars. And when I was able to go through my sabbatical and start carnivore journey at the same time, it's a 1-2 punch, getting rested, getting my health restored, and of course my wife as well. And that's doing that together. So when I came out on the other side of it, our church, the running joke is, when are you taking your next sabbatical? So we like what happened, and we're like, well, actually, we made a decision. We're going to take a month off every summer as a reset, and we just call it a reboot. It's a sabbatical reboot, 1 month, and we'll take the month of July off. And our church is going fantastic, great idea. Whereas maybe before at a different time and place, they would have said, oh, you can't do that.
Right.
No, we need you. You're too busy.
You're getting more done in 11 months than you could in 12 because of the energy
Absolutely.
taking
Absolutely.
in your sabbatical and the kind of person you've become on carnivore.
Absolutely. You mentioned something about the personal aspect of that as well. And so from a personal perspective, more joy. I've always been a somewhat, if you look up positive in the dictionary, my picture might be there. It just might be beside it. So I've always been a little bit wired that way, but more so now. I would say I'm 62 years old. I'm in the best shape of my life. I get up at 5 o'clock every morning and I bounce out of bed. I don't just get up. I get up. I engage. And I am genuinely excited on Tuesday morning. Tuesday's the most unpretentious day of the week, right? It never gets any glory. It's Tuesday. I get up ready to go, excited, ready to engage. And I've got a rhythm I do in the morning with my quiet time, my prayers and things. And I run to it. I didn't used to do that. It was more like, oh, 6:15, I'm going to hit snooze again. I don't do snooze. It's let's go. Usually I wake up before that. And so there's just a new energy and a new bounce in everything.
Yes. What's a typical day like? You mentioned prayer time, but what's a typical day? And I know there isn't one as a rabbi or minister, but maybe talk a little bit about what it might look like. And then especially in terms of meals. Are you doing one meal a
Yes.
day, 2 meals a day? How does that work for you?
Yeah. I'm like anybody else in terms of work. I have a rhythm that I do. So I get up at 5 o'clock and I'll get into the office by 9 o'clock. And Annette and I work together. We've done this for almost our whole marriage. So we go into the office together and we do what we do. We have our meetings. We meet with our staff. We meet with our elders, various things that we do, the work of ministry. And we do that. And then in the middle of that, we do a podcast. In the middle of that, we film video we do video booths. There's a lot of production side of things. I also play on the worship team, obviously. So I'm a musician as well. So we have worship rehearsals and all that goes into that. So that makes up our week. So in terms of food though, because that's really what most people want to know. They're like, so how do you eat during a regular work week? So normally we get up and the first thing we do is Annette, while we're getting ready, she puts on a pound of bacon, just starts baking. And I hear it going in the other room. And I'm like,
Nice sizzle.
I'm getting excited about that. I'm not going to lie. I feel like I get giddy about it because to me, for us, bacon is jet fuel. So we'll have coffee. I do enjoy my coffee. and I don't see it as kryptonite. It's good for me. It works for me. It hasn't been a problem. So I have my coffee. I do my time. I hear the bacon going in there. I know it's time. Smell through the house. So we start off with a half pound of bacon each every day. That's just something we do. We try to buy the cleanest bacon we can from the store, the good stuff, and we got a particular brand we like. And so we start most every day with bacon. Now we do. I'm better at intermittent fasting than she is. She likes to eat a little bit at a time. I'm better at waiting and eating one or two bigger meals, but she'll get up and make that. So we start off with bacon, and that is our jet fuel. Lunch rolls around. We're at the office now. We're not at home. We live about 16 miles from where we work. We live out in the country. So it's not prudent to drive home. If we think we have to have something, we do lunch with people and lunch meetings and stuff, depending on the restaurant. Somebody's always got a good burger, and that's, you can't go wrong there. Honestly, I'd rather eat a steak at home that I made on a pellet grill than anything I ever touch out there. Nothing ever compares to that. So usually what we do, if we're just trying to do a quick meal, we go to McDonald's and we'll order 3 burger patties
Patties. Yeah.
with nothing on it. Now at our church, we have a refrigerator and we'll have Havarti cheese in there ready to go. And we'll add that and some butter. So we keep Kerrygold butter pretty much everywhere we are. So we'll do that during the work week. Burger King has 100% beef patties. McDonald's, we have Whataburger in Texas is a big thing, and they have 100% beef. Sonic has the same, and you can purchase those a la carte. So if we have to eat something or feel like I'd like to go ahead and eat, we'll do that. But probably half the time, 50% of the time, we don't even eat lunch if we don't have to. We just work through the day and continue on. And then we'll get home around 4 p.m. in the afternoon, 4:30, and we already have steaks thawed out. I'm already getting the grill going. We're putting our Redmond salt on, and we're just getting ready to go. And we do that almost every day. So and that's about it. We do have an indulgence. Our indulgence is Lily's chocolate. I don't know if we love Lily's. And so she keeps hers on one side of the fridge, mine on the others, and we'll break off a little piece or two. And that's our little treat to the day. And don't overdo that. So yeah, that's our normal day.
Who has shaped your carnivore journey? You obviously, like me, you started with keto, and we all need that reinforcement. It's somewhat countercultural. So who's
Yeah.
helped guide you? You mentioned Dr. Berry before, but who else?
I really appreciate Dr. Chafee as well, because he comes from a more athletic background, plus being a medical doctor is a big plus. So you got the science, but you also got the practical. And I grew up as an athlete, played sports my whole life, very active, and still at my age, still very active and engaging in those things. And so I was very interested in his journey. Just love hearing him tell a story of his college professor saying plants are trying to kill you. And that started his education in the medical field, like just flipped his whole world upside down. So I love listening to him. I love some of the visit behind it. Of course, Dr. Berry as well. Somebody I love and enjoy because he's every man, and that's Kerry Man.
Yeah, yeah.
I love Kerry. He's every guy. He's a dude. He's a brother. He's a guy I can hang out with. And I enjoy his passion. He's very passionate about it. But he is a great story, fantastic story, overcoming so much. And he is just prolific on cranking out videos and stuff. And
For
whether it's
sure.
him walking through the snow on winter
I love
day,
those too.
it's hysterical. I'm like, I don't think I could ever do that. But anyway, go Terry.
Well, you've
No,
gotta get a trip up north. You come to Chicago, we'll get together, and then you go up to Wisconsin. Cary's only about 2.5
that would be
hours from
fun.
where I am. Yeah,
Really, that would be enjoyable.
yeah.
I will be meeting him in May. So I got invited, and then I'll be a part of this documentary he's filming called
Excellent.
Healing Humanity. And so with Adam Lacey also, and Adam's another dear friend. Adam and I
Right.
become friends. He's just a great guy, humble, just a humble warrior. And so those are 2 other guys that have influenced. And I enjoy the spectrum. I'll just get on YouTube and just see who's up, beef and butter growl, and just different people. And I'll watch what they're doing. And I enjoy a little bit that everybody brings. I would say carnivore is super basic. You can keep it as simple as you want and do well. My executive pastor, who we brought from Nashville this last year, we moved up, he and his wife here from in December. He started Carnivore because they came and visited us last summer. And we were talking about carnivore. Unbeknownst to me, he went home and started his journey. We started our journey. We didn't talk about it until months into it. And when we realized we were both doing it at the same time, he's lost, as of this last week, over 70 pounds.
Incredible.
70. He used to be a runner. Then he was in the military, very athletic and fit. And then life happened, jobs happened, children, 3 kids happened. And he just blew up and he was ready to take his life back. And Brian has a great story as well. I'm surrounded by people who are on their journey. My son as well has lost nearly 40 pounds himself. And so he's a pastor down in Houston, Texas. So not only do I have people I watch online, Annette and I doing it together has been a tremendous help for us. It's never Jimmy and or Annette, it's always Jimmy and Annette. We've just been that way. So whether it's diet or work, we just do that together.
What you just said is so powerful, and I think speaks to me as a rabbi, and I know anyone who's really in the healing profession in some sense, is the hope that carnivore gives. I think that there's a recent book by Dr. Georgia Ede where she says hope is on the menu. And I think
Mm,
that is essentially what you're saying is this provides a way of hope. And I think about this all the time, and I'm actually a little bit torn when I'm counseling somebody. Obviously, I have to be mindful of what's appropriate, what's not coming from a rabbi, as I'm sure you do. But it is a tool. It's an extraordinary tool because I'm sure you counsel parishioners who are going through difficult issues. Could be stress, could be mental health, could be
mm.
grief in terms of loss. And while carnivore doesn't solve everything, it's an extraordinary tool. So I'm curious, both on a personal level, and I'm sure the viewers are as well. How have you been able to incorporate carnivore at all into sort of your ministry in terms of guidance? Not just people looking at you and saying, "That's extraordinary, pastor," but in terms of when you're talking with somebody one-on-one.
The way I do that is, again, I go back to that three-legged stool: mind, body, spirit. And I'll say, if you take 2 inches off of one of those legs, what happens? And of course, the stool won't work, right? It's rendered dysfunctional. And I talk about in terms of just in a 30,000 foot view, it's interesting how many of us are dysfunctional and we don't know it. And it's not even our fault. We've been sucker punched by culture. We've been taught by government entities about the food pyramid and how you should eat and what's good for you. We've been misadvised and misinformed by well-meaning doctors who never studied nutrition. And so I never take the approach of, hey, you need to get your act together. It's you're limping along and you don't know it. And not that it's a magic bullet to fix everything, but let's talk about the mind. Let's talk about mental health. Let's talk about your spiritual life and your walk with God. And let's talk about your physical life. And let's see if we can't get those in balance. So it actually does become part of the conversation. It's not the whole conversation unless someone asks specifically. And that does happen. But it's one more leg of that stool, one more spoke in the wheel. And it is a tool because when you get your health back, it's amazing how that impacts everything. It becomes almost like an epicenter for healing
Yes.
into other
Yes.
things.
Yeah. What else, speaking of that, one of the ways I like to think about carnivores as an anchor habit. It's something that sort
Mm,
of anchors part of the rest of your life. Almost working out can be that as well. It's something
mhm.
that energizes you for the other things in life. I'm curious, how has carnivore opened up more vistas in your life? We were talking before we started recording about the success in your church, which is just so remarkable and inspiring. But what else has carnivore allowed you to do that maybe you weren't able to do in ministry prior to it?
This is personal and professional in the sense that our church has been on a growth track. And so back 8 years, we were 300 people. 6 years into it, we were 450. And so we went to 2 services and we thought that was torture. It's like, oh my gosh, how do you do it? Then a year ago, we're like, we need to do 3 services now. And the thought of that was daunting. Now, actually, we did that after we got back from sabbatical. Here we go. The timing of that. I would never have had that conversation. I would have been the one going, no, thank you. No, I don't know that I could do that because I do play on the worship team as well. Not every week, but some. And to do that,
And
preach 3
preach.
sermons and then engage people between the services, because I always go out in the foyer, got the connection center, and just hang out with people. It's where the party is, and go out and just hang out and meet people. I can't imagine doing that and feeling bad. I know how exhausting it is, and I've got phenomenal energy, great stamina, better than I've ever had in my life. I can't imagine trying to do this and not feeling good. And so it has impacted me on that level where I probably would have been the guy going, no, let's not do 3 services. That's too hard on our volunteers. I don't know. I would be holding things back, I think. And so that's both personal and professional because there's not a big, as a minister, as a rabbi, those overlap tremendously.
Oh,
Where do you separate them? Well, you really can't. They overlap too much. So yeah, it is definitely impacted.
phenomenal. That's phenomenal. What if somebody asked you, as I'm sure they do, Pastor, I'm interested in getting started. I want to try to do what you've done and I'm inspired by the benefits. What do you say to them? What do you recommend to them?
Okay. That's a great question. The first thing I say to them is before we even talk about changing your way of eating, let's talk about your why. If you don't get your why, the what's not going to matter. The what won't last. You won't have the energy. The enthusiasm will wear off. The adrenaline will wear off. Probably about 2 weeks into it when you can't hardly get up out of bed and you're having tummy problems. That's not going to get you through it. And so I always say, let's get the why before the what. So what is your why? Why are you doing it? Define that for me. And not everybody can do that off the cuff because they haven't thought in those terms. Because it may be something as simple as I need to lose a few pounds. Or I've heard this could reverse type 2 diabetes and I really need to get that under control. Those are good, but they're not the larger whys. And you know this, especially with what you do and I do together. We traffic in a world of whys. We
I
see
love it.
people who do things out of obligation. They do things out of guilt and shame. They do things out of this is just my parents raised me in this church, so I'm in this, and they're just doing it and never even know why. Never even thought why. And as one who's trafficked in this for a long time, I've gotten where everything starts with the why. Let's clarify that. So that's my first conversation with anybody who asks about it. Now, they'll always ask about the details, like always. This is the deal breaker. You mean I can't have dessert? I can't have chocolate cake? And I'm like, it's not that you can't, it's just that you don't want to. And let me help you with the why that you don't want that. Of course, that gets you into conversations about sugar addiction, carb addiction, and the bill of goods we've been sold on all that. So anyway, the why is so critical. That's the first
What?
thing I tell them. And then I give them the basics.
Yeah. What's been the hardest part of carnivore for you? I know that's a hard question because in some ways, so much of it is good, but what's been the most challenging part?
In the early days, all of my friends are very social. We live in the middle of wine country. This Texas wine country is number 2 in the nation in production. We passed Napa a long time ago, and we're gaining. Not Napa. We passed Sonoma a
Sonoma.
long time ago, but we're gaining quickly on Napa, and we will be the number 1 before long. So you can imagine there's hundreds of wineries just in our
Mhm.
county and around the area. So all of my friends and all of our community social, it's a resort community. So going out to be social and they're like, so what do you want to drink? And I'll go, I'll have a taste of the driest brute you have, white, please. Whatever the least sugar there is, we figured out what to do there. And I'll have a few, it's just a sip of it. And of course, the question comes out, why? Because we've changed our eating. Here's another thing I found that's awkward. These are the social repercussions. I remember Jordan Peterson say he became a social pariah. Nobody wanted to eat with him anymore. No one wanted to go out with him anymore because his lifestyle so changed that other people felt guilty in his presence. So
Yes.
that's been, I would say, maybe that's the number one of Annette and I trying to navigate our friends to say, eat what you want. Because they say things like, they feel guilty just watching us eat. I say, I'm sorry. I usually always have it. Why are you apologizing? So if that's the way you eat, you feel good about it, go for it. So we've had to really work on this right here to make sure we're not making friends feel shame, inadvertently shaming them. The friends that
Love
we do
that.
a lot of life with, they're used to it.
Right.
We're around, we got past all that. But
Right.
some people, they will instantly start apologizing for what they're ordering or eating. And we have to go, oh, well, no, don't worry about it. Yeah.
I faced the same thing, and I think about it, not to toot our own horns, but to have ministers, rabbis, people who are public figures doing carnivore, it's such a plus. Because it by nature, we're public figures. So we're
Mhm.
getting that message out. We're making it does still seem strange to people. Although I think it's catching on. There's definitely
Yes.
more. It does strike some people as out there. But when you have public figures who are active in the community leaders, it lends a certain greater credibility and visibility to carnivore, which makes it even more important for people like us to do it.
Yes.
I really
Yes.
feel so strongly. Yeah, yeah. Tell me about your podcast. I've listened to it a couple times, and it's called "Living Up in a Down World," right? And you're such a
Yeah.
positive person. But
There's that. There it is.
to start that, and what do you talk about on it?
What got us into it was Adam and Tina Curry. Adam invented podcasting. He was the MTV VJ through the 80s and 90s. He was the guy with the big cool hair. Adam and his wife moved to our community a few years ago from Austin, Texas. A lot of people are leaving Austin, coming to the country. So they came here. We met not long after they got here, hit it off. We became best friends. Well, naturally, because he's the podfather, that's his moniker, and has these big podcasts. He's been on Rogan and Megan Kelly and all these, Glenn Beck and all that. So he's like, Jimmy, you're a natural, being a preacher, you'd be a natural podcast. This would be like the easiest thing for you ever. And you're good on your feet. He said, let me be your executive producer and I'll get you set up. I'll teach you how to do it. I'll get all the mechanic side of it set up, logistics. The
If they
first time
know.
oh, I know. So I said, okay, we'll give it a shot. We came up with the name Living Up in a Down World. My wife had no intention of doing it. The first time I was going to record, close to a year and a half ago, not quite that long. First time I was going to record, she was not feeling well. We had just sold our couch out of our living room. So she's sitting on a chair watching TV in the living room. It was because I'm going to go record the first podcast. I walk in and I said, I can't do this without you. We need to do this together. It's never Jimmy or Annette. It's always Jimmy and Annette. So I literally drugged her in, set up a mic, sat down, and we recorded our first one. And she complained the whole time. She was, I can't believe you're making me do this. It was hilarious. But that actually was the fun of it, is that she was very unwilling, but it made for a good show. Things just took off after that. For whatever reason, it caught on. And we just did episode 59. And so we're just keep going. And folks have asked, are you going to do a video version of it? And we're actually set up at a studio. Sure, we could do a video version. But for now, just because of the time for producing video and what it would take my staff to do, I don't want to take them away from other things. We're going to just continue like it is. But we love doing it. It's fun. We try to do it every week. Lately with our schedules and the way things are going, it's sometimes hit and miss, like we missed this week, but we love doing it. And so we pull carnivore, a little carnivore piece into that. Try to every time, not always, but we try to, just to give a little update on our carnivore journey. And it has actually inspired other people just through our simple podcast to explore, ask questions, and we've coached a few more people into it that way.
It's beautiful. This has just been so wonderful. I'd like to conclude. This channel is really about the sort of spiritual, mental, psychological benefits of carnivore. And as a minister, this is part of your everyday. So what is your core? What If you could preach to my viewers in a more universal way, obviously, but
Sure,
what is your
of
message?
course.
What's your message? What's your hope? What's your advice
Sure,
for them?
sure. First of all, I would say that God has given us such a gift in life. For whatever reason he had for your existence on this planet, it was for such a time as this, as Mordecai told Esther, for such a time as this. Could it be that it was for such a time as this that God allowed you to come into existence? He allowed you to be born. He allowed you to experience sometimes the good, the bad, the ugly, but also the great and the beautiful. You're here for a reason. I don't see accidents in anything in terms of us being on this planet. And so, could it be that you're here for a purpose, that there's a plan that's bigger than you, and you're being invited by a God who loves you and who allowed you to be born into this world and created you? And you're being invited in to get on that plan and to get on that road and that path of growth, of faith, of hope in something that's bigger than you are. And could it be he's extending that to you? And could it be that your physical health is just one more spoke in the wheel of all of that? And I will say for me, I know Rabbi having to say the same thing, that discovering carnivore has done nothing but enhance. I'm a guitar player, amplify, if you will. It is amplified everything we do. It's amplified our joy. It's amplified our experience. It's amplified what we put our hands to in terms of our work and what we get to do. It's amplified our purpose. In a sense, we are carnivore evangelists because the benefits have been so good and so rich. We didn't even get into that because there's so much. I'm sure we could both talk about things that have been healed in our physical bodies that have been long term issues, and that now we don't have to worry about those anymore. So maybe today's an invitation, just maybe it's not an accident that you stumbled upon two guys from what some people would say are opposite ends of the planet. I don't see it that way at all.
No.
I see two men who love their God and who are trying to fulfill their calling and their purpose by walking with Him and then turning that to say, how can we help others? And so maybe you're supposed to watch this. Maybe you're supposed to be hearing this for such a time as this. And
Mm.
so we want to invite you in this journey. And maybe starting with your health is a good place. Maybe that's a first step in to the greatest days yet to come for your life. So,
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you for your time and your wisdom.
of course, pleasure.